about to start. I'm not sure how long it'll take. But I got to get out of here no later than an hour or so. So is that too late to check it?
Okay, I believe we need to stop the flow of folks in here. We're about to get overloaded in the room, and we don't want to have a fire hazard because I don't want to run over like people getting out of here. So, anyway, we're at the In-House Education Committee is reconvening, and for the purpose of taking up and having questions answered and possible amendments on House Bill 888, the Mississippi Charter School Act of 2012. And establishing the procedures thereof, and it's actually in your package, ladies and gentlemen of the committee. There are several bills in here which we will not deal with this afternoon. There are a lot of them that are double referred, and just to let the committee know, in case you did not hear it, that if on the House floor, we will have another committee meeting tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. And be prepared to stay as long as we have a lot of items that have to be dealt with. Also, there is a scheduled committee meeting on Friday morning at 10 o'clock, and possible meetings Monday and Tuesday of next week. And hopefully we can clear everything that we need to move out of this committee Thursday, Friday, so I won't have to, so we won't have to work hard next Monday and Tuesday. Before you is a proposed committee substitute, and I'm going to recognize the chairman of the subcommittee to actually tell you about the amendments that have been added to the original 888. Some of them are just technical amendments, and then at that point, most of them are technical. If at any point in time anyone has a question about one, just seek recognition. And we'll take the vote on that block of amendments, and then I have some amendments of the chair, proposed amendments for the committee to consider to kind of alleviate some of the concerns of some of the members and some of the members of the opposition and proponents of the bill. And I think it will make a lot nicer bill than what some of you are actually hearing out there. And whatever you do, don't believe any of the propaganda. Pay attention as we go through this piece of legislation today. And that we're taking a journey in this committee meeting. I do not intend for us to stay here till 9 o'clock tonight dealing with this issue. We're all tired, but we're going to spend as much time as we need on this issue so everyone is comfortable with it. We're starting down a journey, and this committee will actually you'll have two courses of action. This is actually a piece of legislation that deals with the parent control and the children of the state of Mississippi. That will be one side of the issue. The other side of the issue is to continue to promote the bureaucracies that are out there now. And that's kind of the decision. You'll kind of see that as we move down through this issue. Now, just ask you to have an open mind as we prepare to enter this bill here. And gentlemen from Clarksville, you will tell us about the amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Martins for the amendments.
And any person that seeks recognition or members of that are actually presenting, please talk loudly, like you're trying to talk over a class full of kindergartners. We're all talking at the same time. So talk loudly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll speak as loud as I can. I'm not a teacher, so I don't have a teacher voice, but I'll do the best I can. If you can't hear me, just raise your hand. This is a little bit awkward because the lines that I'm going to call out where the amendments were added were a little bit slightly different than what they are in your bill because the words have been added to your bill and you have the ordinance. For instance, on line 292, we inserted before the period the following, which such removal procedure shall be stipulated in the bylaws adopted by the board for its government. This deals with the charter school board that was put together, and it just allows the removal of any board member in case there was a reason to do that. These are mostly housekeeping amendments, so they're really not, earth-shaking. But anyway, if you can follow through on line 379,
I think she'd want to.
The old bill was 292.
Yeah, I'm going to have to share. Okay.
Line 306 of the new bill. And remind you again, these amendments that she's making are not changing the substance of the bill. It's a technical amendment. And the amendments that will be of substance will be, I'll present those in just a few minutes.
Okay. On line, the old bill, line 379, the original bill, had in one of the categories where the public charter school portfolio identifies all public charter schools in these thousand categories, there was one that was transferred. Students who were transferred, that was struck. So there is not that line, that's word is no longer.
Okay, you understand that I think
You can't hear me?
it's can't hear you.
Okay. Did you all get that on line 379, we struck transfer? On line further, on line 845. After the word.
Give us the exact The second amendment is 391 through 397. Yeah, we're on 888 on the committee substitute. It should be the first bill and it's our main second bill in the hand.
So did you all get that second amendment where it transferred and was deleted? 391. No, you don't see transferred on there. On line 845. 879, on line 879. We added the word calendar after 10.
That just changes it to 10 calendar days.
On line 1053, and the new line is 1088. You're going to see we struck the word State Board of Education and inserted instead Mississippi High School Activities Association. Further in section 30, we struck the entire section 30 and inserted the words, and you can see these words on line
1108.
1108. That's a rather long section that talks about how the certification is called out. Further on line 1726, which is now in line 1806, we inserted before the period the following. Except the charter school board shall deny employment to any teacher or administrator as a result of subsection 2B through H. In addition, the charter school board shall provide for the suspension of any teacher, administrator, or employee as a result of subsection 12B through H. Through I. Those words are already in the bill, as you see it. That is the extent of the amendments we added. These were house cleaning amendments that were told us that we needed to add.
Okay, the lady has, and these are all just technical amendments, cleanup type amendments, and I would seek a motion to adopt those.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Who would you say? Anthony? Will the consent of the board make the decision, the athletic department?
I think hold on just a second. There was a question about the amendment that took the State Board of Education, put the Mississippi High School Activities Association, and that has to do with activities, the high school activities.
All extracurricular activities,
Put them under the purview of the high school activities.
It was not in its proper place, and the Department of Education made that recommendation.
Okay, all right. As far as anywhere, that would be the only one. And understanding, as soon as we adopt these amendments, we go into the large amendment, and then Representative Espy is going to start with the phase one and work his way all the way through the bill for questions. And, does anybody have any particular technical question about any of the amendments that the ladies and Madison and I proposed? Okay, there's a motion to adopt those amendments to the committee substitute. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Okay, they've been adopted. Okay, there are 3 or 4 other amendments that I will be proposing, and we'll take those up one at a time. Okay, the first one, let's get the right line. It's actually going to be close to the front of the bill. That's correct. Okay, the correct line number is number 83 in the bill. And this is the proposed language that's actually in the committee substitute the letter 4, numeral 4. Public charter schools and conversion charter schools shall be established only in those local school districts that have an accountability rating of successful, under academic watch, low performing, at risk of failing or failing as determined by the accountability standards adopted by the State Board of Education. The provision of this act shall not apply to any school district have an accountability rating as high performing or star district. And then further on line 113, okay, that is the reading of the amendment. Are there any questions regarding that amendment?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
If a school district is a successful school district, or is this amendment including a successful school district in the charter school?
Yes.
You're not eliminating.
School districts are, and I'm actually looking at some language that will actually allow success. If a district has been star performing, star or high performing, and they fall in the successful category for, and I'm thinking of a time frame here, 1 year or 2 years, then they would fall in, but not penalize the school district, just have to dip in the successful range. Did that answer you?
Mr. Chairman, when you mentioned the ratings, so forth and so on, is that the full district, or can it be done in an individual school in that district that falls to that point?
I believe it has to do with the district.
It has to be the whole district.
Right. Any other questions on that amendment?
This may be into my news here, but thank you, Mr. Chairman. If, say there is a successful or academic watch, charter school begins when the school becomes star high performing, was that affecting the charter school that exists there?
No, if a school district is actually low performing, and as a result of coming in with a charter school, it puts the pressure on the failing school to rise up, and we've won the war. We've actually used the charter school system to not only have one good school system, but two. And we would hope that that would happen in schools that are low performing academic watch categories. The purpose of this is to rise and tide lifts all boats, and we sure hope that it quickly. Yes.
Chairman, could you read that amendment one more time? I didn't see the difference in the wording here and what you read.
Well, what you have there is the amendment.
Oh, okay.
The amendments are not adopted. They're printed in the bill that you have. So when we finish here, you'll have the actual bill before you in your hand. Then you have the wording in your hand. Are there any more questions? someone offer a motion? Okay, motion on amendment to change the wording on line 83. All in favor of that amendment say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The amendment has been adopted. The next amendment is on line 113. And it amends further on line 113 by inserting the following language before the period, which was designated as either successful under academic watch, low performing, at risk of failing, or failing. Now, it's actually 119. It's actually 119 is where the language is at. And what the reason for that, ladies and gentlemen, is to conform that wording with the original wording. That just actually reflects the first change in who's actually available. Is there a motion on that amendment? A motion on that amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. That amendment is adopted. Okay, the next amendment is going to be on which line? Okay, the next one will be on 171 through 176. Amend further by striking the language on those lines and inserting in lieu thereof the following. Virtual public schools means a public school that offers educational services predominantly through an online program. A virtual school may contract with any eligible authorizer for purposes of providing online academic instruction to students attending a public charter or conversion charter school. Anyone have a question about that amendment?
Mr. Chairman, can you give us some examples of what we're talking about here? Who would be the virtual school that would be contracted with?
Pardon me, Gilmore, I can ask the question again.
I'm just wondering, when you talk about virtual schools, can you give us some examples of who we might be contracting with?
This is two different animals. Virtual public is not virtual charter. We'll get that, but there are already virtual public schools going on. It doesn't have anything to do with the virtual charter school, as the gentleman, the council just told me. Virtual charter would be dealt with a little bit later on. Okay, lady from Jackson, Vice Chairman will be in. Well, I think we already have within the Department of Education a virtual public school program that's already been actually being used out there. Any other questions on that? Yes, lady. Well, I guess it may be used statewide. It's accessible from anywhere, I guess, really across the country. It can be used.
We're talking about the virtual. Statewide, they're using that piece of the Department of Education on that.
No, we're not recognizing anybody. It's actually part of the department already has that going on. And I'm looking for a motion. We'll adopt that amendment and go on. Okay, have a motion. All in favor of adopting that amendment, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Nay. Okay, the next amendment comes in on 276, and I believe it's got the Okay, all right. Amend on line 276 by inserting the following language. The Mississippi Public Charter School Board shall consist of 5 members. 3 members shall be appointed by the governor. One member shall be appointed by the lieutenant governor, and 1 member shall be appointed by the Speaker of the House. In making the appointments, the governor, lieutenant governor, and Speaker of the House shall ensure statewide geographic and racial diversity among Mississippi Public Charter School Board members. And what was actually changed in the original bill is it had 3 appointments by the governor and 2 by the lieutenant governor and none for the Speaker. So that was the change. Good. Motion.
I don't believe that in 932, in making that appointment to the governor and the citizen of Charles should include the Speaker of the House.
He gets paid to be clerk. Okay, do I hear a motion on that amendment? Motion to accept that amendment adopted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. That amendment has been adopted. Okay, actually on line 560, striking the language on certain lines and inserting on line 560. In the case of a proposal to establish a public charter school or convert an existing non-charter public charter school status, the request for proposal shall additionally require the applicant to describe the proposed school system of providing course credits through virtual classes with an entity with whom the charter school has contracted to provide such services, and how the school will, number 1, monitor and verify student participation in those courses, monitor and verify student progress and performance in each course through regular assessment and submission of coursework, C, conduct parent-teacher conferences, and D, provide instruction to those students enrolled in a public charter conversion school for whom an IEP or 504 plan has been developed, who have a specific learning impairment or physical impairment that impedes the traditional learning process for such students. Any questions on that amendment? If not, I'll accept the motion to adopt that amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. That amendment has been adopted. Okay, and the next amendment lines will be beginning on line 605. Request for proposals shall additionally require background information on the proposed founding governing board, members, and management team, and if identified, the proposed school leadership. The background information shall include annual student achievement data disaggregated by subgroup for every school under the current or prior management of any board members, and leadership team members, and evidence of a record of sustained significant academic success, including significant gains in student achievement in an underperforming school, or evidence that the applicant has consistently improved levels of proficiency as measured on relevant state achievement tests. It's just tightened up on who could actually be chartered. The people that are actually going to be running our charter schools. Make them have to have a proven track record already. Have a motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. That amendment is adopted. Only 2 more, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, on line 632, we amend on line 632 by striking the phrase, striking out, and are likely to open and operate a successful public charter school, and inserting in lieu of the following. that have provided clear evidence that the management or leadership team of the proposed charter school has demonstrated significant academic success, including sustained significant gains in student achievement in an underperforming school, or that it has consistently improved levels of proficiency as measured on relevant state achievement tests, further tightening the group can actually operate those schools. Your motion on that?
So moved.
All in favor say there's a motion to adopt the amendment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. That amendment is adopted. The final amendment is amend by striking the language on line 693 and inserting the language that this in lieu thereof. The charter contract for a public charter school or conversion charter school shall include description and agreement regarding the methods by which the school will contract with a virtual school for purposes of providing virtual classes to students enrolled that A, monitor and verify student participation in course selection, credit accrual, and course completion, monitor and verify student progress and performance in each course through regular assessments and submission of coursework, and C, conduct parent-teacher conferences, and D, provide instruction to those students enrolled. It's the same language we had in the earlier section, just making the language come together. We're doing an IEP or 504 plan that's been developed for to have a specified learning impairment or physical impairment that impedes the traditional learning process for such students. A motion to adopt the amendment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Is that the okay, there will be another amendment proposed that you do not have in your piece of legislation at this point. It is a proposed amendment that deals with virtual schools. Unless the school division of residents otherwise agrees, funds